Hello, hello. We are live. And today I am stupidly excited and I'm a little bit tired. So if I fluff my words, just I think get used to it because you know what I'm like. So I was explaining to Gwen earlier that I was up at 6 o'clock this morning accepting a delivery of shopping. Anyway, today is day 64 of 365 days of live streams, videos, and every week for the next few weeks anyway, I have the pleasure of having almost like guests with me, people with me. So I'm not doing this on my own. And today I'm particularly excited about Gwen. So if you're watching this, we are streaming in multiple places together. I'm streaming on LinkedIn, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Jenny Kovacs, it says on there. I'm streaming on my YouTube channel. If you type in at Jenny Kovacs, I was very lucky to bag that, then you'll find my channel. Please subscribe if you do, because I am attempting to grow my channel after many years of being on YouTube. And then if you are a Facebook type of a person, you'll find me over on my Facebook business page, which is Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen. Easily to find me by just typing in at Visibility Vibe without the S. And Gwen is also streaming. Gwen, where are you streaming to?
Good morning. I am streaming to my business page, and you'll find that on Facebook, business page, Gwen Baird. Easy peasy. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I am really, Gwen and I are just going to have a chat about a few things. The biggest thing is I want you to know what Gwen does. Phenomenal work, I think, very life-changing for many people, and she does it in such a dynamic way, in my humble opinion. But first, we thought it'd be good and fun to share the story of how we met. So most people will say, you know, they were introduced or something else like that. But basically, Gwen and I went to an event and we were both out of towners. And I decided to take the train and then get in an Uber. And as I'm in the Uber driver's saying, well, where is this place? And I said, I don't know. Have you not got it in your stuff? And he said, yeah, I think it could be here, but I'm not sure. So we're both looking and we slowed down on this street and looking up people's drives as you do. And then I noticed there was a car just ahead that had pulled over. And always being the optimistic one, I'm just made the assumption. I always make the assumption everyone in front of me is going to the same event or function or something as me, which is pretty wild, especially if you're driving down the motorway. And I remember thinking, I reckon that person's going to the same thing as me. So I said to the Uber driver, can you just pull up beside that car over there? And they did. And I looked in. And I'm sure, well, I don't even know what you must have thought. You kind of looked out the window and then I asked, are you going to such and such? And you said yes. And at which point I'd already found it on my phone and we drove down the road. But it was such a cool way to meet somebody, like a perfect stranger. We'd never spoken to each other before. And then kind of looked in and went, oh, are you going to?
So it was bizarre because I remember the car pulling up slowly. I had no idea. I knew we were close. And all I could see was this black car coming up downside, pulling up. And I'm going, uh-oh. And almost goes, Gwen. And I went, Jenny. It was bizarre, totally bizarre, but it was fun.
Yeah, I often think, what must you have thought in those last few seconds as this like car just sides up against you? So yeah, so that's how we met. And the rest, as they say, is history. So anyway, enough about stalking people in cars and doing weird things in the middle of the country. I want to introduce you to Gwen. Gwen is an amazing person. And I'm going to let her talk about the stuff she does because she can do it far more eloquently than me. So let's just jump in. Gwen, do you want to tell people what you do within your business?
Okay, hi. Well, I'm Gwen Baird, and what I do is there's a couple of strings to the work things that I do, but the main thing that I'm focusing on at the moment is I help people who are in the online space and they are living and working with invisible illness. And this all sort of stemmed back to my own circumstances when I had to give up a job I loved because of a diagnosis. I was diagnosed with a dilated cardiomyopathy, and there's a lot of family history involved. I knew exactly what was entailed with it. And basically, the whole bottom fell out of my world at the point when I was diagnosed, because I knew what the future could maybe bring. So at that point, I decided, well, I'm not giving up. Got to do something, girl. So I was working in sales, traveling the lengths and the breadths of the country, selling papercraft products into the shops, into trade. I loved it. The people you met were fantastic. It was just the whole world around it was brilliant. And I can remember I used to build up such a rapport with the clients that it wasn't really selling. It was, you could phone them, you could visit them, and you actually built up a trust. And it was, honestly, it could have been, I don't care what you've got, Gwen, I'll take it, you know, because they trusted me. And that was quite a special relationship to build up with people. So when I was diagnosed, I thought I couldn't hump all these big cases because I knew I was unwell. So we had to try and think of, come on, Gwen, what can you do? We're talking a good 15, 6, no, it's probably about 19 years ago now, crikey. And I thought, right, what are we going to do? So I was sitting at home. I did allow myself a few weeks pity party to get used to the diagnosis and the changes that were going to have to come. But I thought, this isn't going to rule me. I am still going to carry on working. And what happened was I was just sitting browsing on the computer, as you do, and up popped this little course for social media. So we jumped in, done the course. I thought this was actually quite fun. We done the next level and the next level. I thought, actually, there's something in this. I quite like this. So I thought, how could I get myself some clients? So remember, we're going back 19 years when a lot of this was still relatively new. So I decided to contact the principals that I'd been working for. These are the companies that I was selling their products into trade for them, and said to them, look, guys, you need to be on social media. Would you like me to do your social media for you? And they all went, Gwen, brilliant, great idea, let's do it. So that was how I got started in the online space. And it just grew, and my experience grew, and the business grew, and the platforms grew. And it was a fantastic journey. And over the years, I developed my own skills with my own self-development, and we sort of moved from social media more into the business side, the online business foundations, if you like. And then what happened was I was more into the coaching. So it was the social media and the coaching, and I threw into the mix advanced Facebook ads, because I was always getting told Facebook ads are a waste of time, they're a waste of money, throw your money away, they don't work. I thought, but they've got to work. All the big names use Facebook ads and they're successful. So we dived into that one, and I just got it. I just totally understood how the ads work. And I also understood why so many people thought they were rubbish. And that's because they didn't understand the power behind them. So what then happened was we threw that into the mix, and business developed. And I always wanted to do the membership specifically for people who are living and working in the online space with invisible illness. It was to give them the help and support and the belief that you can still be successful no matter what's going on in the background. You still have experience and skills, and you can change direction and be successful and accommodate everything that's going on in your life. So then the Empowering Invisible Warriors membership was born. It's still a baby, we're still developing, but it's got such a good vibe inside, and things are changing already. It's developing already. We're ready to close the doors on the founder's price, and it is going to go quite sky high because there's lots of exciting stuff in there. Because the other thing I've just done recently to add to the package is I've done my certification in business coaching, because I also felt with all the experience I had and that I've got, you've really got to push yourself to stand out. You've really got to do yourself justice to be able to get seen. Now, where did that come from, I wonder, Jenny
Well,
Kovacs?
I was going to say, that's a topic I understand a lot, and I'll kind of ask you a couple more questions on a
Yeah.
few things that you said there. I wanted to ask you this, though, before we kind of dive into more of what you do, is what do you think is so great about what you do, especially with the Invisible Warriors?
It gives people back a feeling of belonging. You know, people, when you are diagnosed with anything, I see so many people, especially today, they will be given a diagnosis for something, and suddenly they're here today, life is good, everything's fine, they get tied with this label, and tomorrow they are suddenly unable to do what they can do today. Nothing's changed, but because they have a diagnosis, they feel they have got to sort of mold into the symptoms of the diagnosis. And what I'm trying to do is to, yes, life might have to change. You might have to change what you're doing slightly to look after yourself, but with self-care and the right knowledge and channeling your expertise, because we all know more than we think. We've got so much experience inside us. A lot of it we don't even use or remember that we have it. But when you're forced to change, suddenly the things that even things that you were taught at school, even the early jobs that you used to have suddenly become relevant, and you think, oh, yeah, I can do this. So the Empowering Invisible Warriors is basically a safe space for people to know it's okay to have a bad day, but it is for the people that want to be professional in business, grow into something really, really, and it gives you a purpose, and it can reignite your passion for what you do.
And I suspect that that's a biggie for you as the person doing this, watching people reignite their passion and things like that. So if somebody's watching this and thinking, well, I don't think I've got an invisible illness, but, has so-and-so, how do I know? What kinds of things would you categorize as, invisible illness, i.e. what kind of people are best kind of to be in your membership?
Yeah, there is a huge, vast range. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. For example, I could sit and say, oh, I've got dilated cardiomyopathy, and I'm living every day with heart failure, and I'm in chronic pain because I can't move about too much because then my heart won't work. I put too much stress, and poor old me. You can either go down the route of playing the victim, or I'm in control of my own life here. And chronic illnesses, it can be things like chronic pain. It can be, fibromyalgia. It can be kidney disease. It could be a multitude of things. The amount of people that you're actually speaking to on a day-to-day basis, and you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes.
I remember when we first spoke about this. And you were talking about doing this, it occurred to me that what you're doing is helpful for people that they might not class it as an invisible illness. So to be candid, one of my journeys that a lot of people don't realize about me was that I was diagnosed with endometriosis in my mid-20s, to the point where part of my treatment involved being forced into a menopause. Imagine this, I'm 25 and I'm fully like a raging kind of menopause, and the treatment they gave me meant that once the treatment stopped, it reversed and everything else like that. But what I think is interesting is people sometimes forget that with things like that, there's a lot of pain involved, and in the same way as somebody with a chronic pain condition, it's really debilitating. There were times when I couldn't even stand up straight, so I think if you're watching this and you're thinking, no, I'm fit and healthy, or this happens, other circumstances we've come across, and I've definitely seen, a lot of people talk about having migraines, and they're running a business, and then the fact that they can't do anything like for days on end, the amount of pain they're in. What it normally means is if somebody is in Gwen's world and you're living with something that has you having to almost shut down, no pity party, but you just have to shut down, withdraw. You know, if you've got a raging migraine, something thankfully that I don't have, you've got a raging migraine and, you know, you can't see and you've got to take care of yourself and you're trying to run a business. What I like about what you share isn't just that you welcome people with open arms and you've got this safe space. You've got a very empowered space, you know, and I think that's really important because in our world, specifically in the personal development / professional development world, I think like you're an OG, you know, I've been around for a while. You've been around for longer than me. I think it's really important for people to know that in order to sell your concept, your idea from a visibility perspective, people will talk about marketing to the pain, and I understand that. But there comes a point where if you push that envelope too much, you end up attracting people to you that think there is absolutely no hope. So it's a really fine balance. So I'm glad that you've got all the other kind of pieces put in. Do you see that a lot? Or
it is. It's a difficult one to explain, and it's also difficult for other people to understand too, because with any form of invisible illness, there comes a whole package of understanding. I mean, you're not just dealing with your own feelings, and I mean, you and I could both have exactly the same condition, but we both handle it differently.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's makeup's different, everybody handles things differently, but there's also the elements of the understanding of the peer pressure and the family situation, because one of the big things is families want to fuss, families want to make sure you're okay. Families can really get on your nerves, but they've just got your best interests at heart, but you're still your own person. You've still, and it's getting that balance between not giving it in and doing what the family expects and sitting down with your feet up and not doing too much and don't be up too late and do all the right things and doing what you want to do as a parent and living your life. You can still live a full life, but cope with everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, I love
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's such an important message, you know, and to be honest with you, that's an important message for everyone, regardless of what they're living with, if it's the illness themselves or someone in their family or someone that they know or someone that they know but don't realize as well, you know, all of these things.
Yeah. And it's quite good too for families to realize, okay, just back off, you know, let them be, let them do what they want. They're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. Yeah, that's a big thing too. But with the empowering invisible warriors too, it is very much geared around people who want to have a professional business in the online space, because we are living in the era of the professional business person.
Absolutely, I so agree with that.
Yeah, you've got to get the professional standards out there now, because there is so much noise everywhere, every platform. You've got to really raise the bar and get yourself in the right frame.
Let's talk more about that. However, first, let's just quickly talk about the 365 that a few of us, for some weird and unknown reason, decided to do. So just to give this conversation context, if you're watching from Gwen's audience, from my audience, in 2023, February 2023, I decided that I was going to stream live, do a Facebook Live to my personal profile for a whole year consistently. No videos, no pre-records. And I found my edges in that, but I did it. And everyone kept saying, are you going to keep going? Are you going to do it again? I was like, no, I've done it. I've made the promise to myself. I've kept the promise to myself. I've done it. And it was literally a couple of months later, I thought, do you know what? I would do that again. I might make some changes. And then I didn't sort of, I thought it, didn't really do anything with that. And then a group of people that had just gone through the confidence on camera thing that I run every 2 or 3 months now. One of them got to the end and said, I quite fancy doing the 365 thing. And a couple of people went, definitely not. A couple of people went, I might do. So what I did was I did a couple of videos, one in that group and one in the a different group that I have. And I just said, if you're thinking of doing this, like, do it your way. Do it, to suit your life, to suit your business. Think about, do you want to do it every single day? Do you want to do it as live streams? Do you want to do it as videos? Do you want to do it as, mini masterclasses, however you want to do it? But just decide for yourself based on your business, your lifestyle, your audience, and all of that. And I put the video out there. Gwen went, yeah, I'm going to do it. So for those of you that watched Susie on Friday, Susie decided that she was going to do hers just from the Monday to Friday for a whole year. So everybody, it's not a program, it's not an official program anyway, although people have been asking me, why don't you do it as a program? But it's not an official program, but a group of us just got together and went, okay, we're going to do it. And we're kind of going to cheer each other on. So Gwen is one of those people. So what did you decide to do? Like, where did you decide to stream with your 365?
Well, it was a spur of the moment. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I'm doing it for me, not for anybody else. I'm challenging myself to see if I can do this. And right from the beginning, it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But do you know what? Very, very quickly, it got really quite easy. And there's even like the odd night, oh, I've not done the live yet. And you've got to, run up, get the live done. And the amount of people that have said to me, Gwen, where's the link to the 365? I said, there is no link. Just decide to do it. Just go and do it. And I just explained, there's a few of us and we're just keeping each other accountable, but just go and do it. You just decide to do it and do it. There is no hard and fast rules. But I've got real block about going live on my personal profile. But I'm determined before I get to the end, I'm going to be live on my personal profile. So at the moment, I'm going live on my business page, purely because I'm going to start doing advanced Facebook ads for me rather than for clients all the time. And if you've got lots of videos on your business page, that's tick, that's good. I'm going live in LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And I sort of vary it. Sometimes it's just business page. I just see how I feel and I will go. I'm using StreamYard for the multiple platforms. So that works quite nice.
It does. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can do it. And I know it sounds weird to say when we're talking about video or live streaming, it doesn't have to be a technical way. I'm a big advocate of mouth, arm and phone, or I sometimes joke and say someone else's arm, get them to hold the camera. But I want it to be an easy experience for people. And actually, a couple of things that you said resonate with my experience. When I decided to do it, I did it. It sounds, bonkers, but I decided to do it for myself. I wanted to make a promise to myself and keep that promise to myself, because Gwen will tell you, as a business coach as well, that in business, there are so many things that we kind of want to get around to. There's so many things we want to do, and for whatever reason, we don't. Sometimes it's lack of time, lack of faith, lack of or lots of fear or whatever. So I just wanted to promise myself that. And I did, very much like you. After about 4 days, I thought, what on earth am I doing? I'm going to have to do this on Christmas Day. I'm going to have to do this when I'm on holiday. What if I go somewhere and there's no Wi-Fi? Because for me, again, it was about going live. What if I'm ill? What if I'm with clients? What if I'm somewhere? I sometimes do work with corporates that are like non-disclosure agreements. I can't just do a live on site, What if I'm speaking and traveling and, what if I break my phone? All these what ifs came up and I thought, well, one day at a time. And when I started to get towards like the 60-day mark, I think you can hit a wall and think, and then I started to think more about, okay, how do I want these lives to be? But the good thing the first time round was there was no pressure. I didn't have to perform. It kind of didn't matter. And ironically, I got to the last 2 weeks of it, and someone who was connected to me said under one of those videos, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were doing this. So this is why I like that Gwen does the Facebook ad stuff as well, because people always, from my perspective, I see a lot of people that always kind of worry about being visible, being too much, putting themselves out there too much. And it just goes to show, doesn't it? I was doing them for a whole year, 2 weeks shy of finishing, and someone went, "How did I not know you were doing this?"
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's great. Is there anything that pops out? There may or may not be kind of learnings or insights that you've had.
Oh, it's been amazing, because the amount of DMs I've had from people saying, "Oh, Gwen, I am loving your videos. Don't stop." And I'm thinking, because not everybody engages on them, because people watch, but they don't always comment. And I
Yes.
thought, oh, and that made me a little bit nervous, because I thought, people are watching. Because if I think nobody's watching, I can do it anywhere, anytime, no problem. But the minute you think, my goodness, they're watching, it sort of puts that pressure on. But I have had countless DMs, people saying, "Oh, Gwen, I love these, great. Oh, I love just," and I even had one wonderful message from one lady that said, "Oh, Gwen, yesterday I was moved to tears because it just resonated so much." And I'm sitting thinking, what did I talk about yesterday? What was I talking? Because you forget.
Yeah, you
And I'm
do.
thinking, I had to go back. I thought, oh my goodness, right, okay. But what really has popped out is, you might not get all the comment. Lots of people do the lives and they give all this, tell me where you're watching from, and oh, you don't do any of that. You don't need any of that nonsense. You just do it. And what happens is, you look at the views, and it's like, oh my goodness, some of the views that I've got in these videos, it's like, where did they come from? Who are they? I want to know who these people are that are watching. So when I come to do my Facebook ads, I've got a lovely engaged audience that have viewed my videos that will be lovely for my Facebook ads. Thank you
I
very much.
always say this about
Yeah.
visibility. It sounds creepy. I mean, from my generation, it probably sounds a creepy thing to say, but I always say people are always watching. You just don't know. They are always watching. Do you know how many times I've been to events and people have gone, "Oh, you're Jenny Kovacs. Oh my gosh, I watched your video." And when you said so and so, and sometimes you are like, "Oh, what did I say on that?" Or you said this and I did it, and then this happened. It's just heartwarming. It brings me to tears. It actually makes me cry, because for me it's very humbling, because I do this work not for me and my visibility, but for the people who want it, need it, and want to rise up. So speaking of work and things that want to rise up, just tell us the name of your membership, and how people can get involved and join the membership.
Sure. It is called Empowering Invisible Warriors. And you will find all the information on empoweringinvisiblewarriors.com. That'll give you everything you need. And at the moment, it is still open to the founders rate, which is it's £47 a month.
Oh,
And
excellent.
yeah, we are having such a nice time on the inside. We're still, we're restructuring and growing, and I'm delivering what the people that are inside just now want and need. And there's plans afoot to everything's being upgraded, and we're tweaking it, and things are changing, because when the whole point of the founders rate is we find out what you need, and I'll deliver what you need and what you want. And quite often you don't know you need it until you're there.
Are you happy to share what the founders rate is now, so people run and don't?
£47 a month. And
That's amazing.
it is, and it's there's no big huge commitment, no big sign up. You're in, and it's every month. If you want to try it for a month and then leave, that's fine. No hard feelings whatsoever. But then, like I say, it is all going to be changing next month. It's going to be going up quite substantially. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've got a program that's coming out in September, and I need to rejig my VAT and all that kind of stuff. So that's that often adds to it. But I think worth every penny, knowing what you do. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to say about your work and the Invisible Warriors, or anywhere that people can go to you or find you?
They can come and find me on Facebook. Gwenbeard.com is my website, which it's actually down at the moment because it's all becoming brand new, and it should be up within the next week. So if you fancy, have a nosy at gwenbeard.com after next week, and we'll all be up and running. That should be fun, and that'll give you all the membership and everything else, all the other details in there. But yeah, but really, if you do fancy doing the 365, just do it. Just decide to do it and go for it. And you know what? People overthink it. I don't know if you find that, Jenny, but a lot of people overthink about what am I going to say? What am I going to say for 365 days? You don't have to have, you just see what mood you're in the morning. What talk about whatever happened yesterday, what's happening tomorrow, and it's amazing the real good quality stuff that comes out when you don't overthink it.
And I think, like, if you've got a business, you will naturally, this is why I worked relentlessly and I worked with mentors and coaches, because I didn't think I had any kind of system. And I also didn't want people to feel they would be put in a kind of a sausage machine.
Yeah.
But actually, for me, I always think I find it easy. Maybe I thought I created lots of ideas, but actually, with my kind of 5 pillars, everything that I share always comes from the first pillar. I might refer to some of the others. You can find that out there, and you can string it together. But I think a lot of the reason many people approach me is for the reason that you've said there. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they're quaking in their boots necessarily. Often they're like, but what do I say, or how do I position it in the best way? So there are lots of things that I love doing with people, but I love it having a conversation with them and saying, that's content, that's content, that's content, and drawing it out of them too. So yeah, absolutely love that.
I do think as well, there's a lot of mindset about people that have not got into the habit of going live. They really, I've been there. My first live, if you could have seen me doing my very first ever live, I think it was about 5 attempts. I would not press that button. But a lot of people think as soon as they press live, that everybody on the World Wide Web is watching them. But the reality is, your first one, very few people are probably even going to see it unless you talk about it and publicize it and tell everybody it's there. So don't overthink again about people. Everybody in the world's going to be watching me, because I hate to tell you, they're not. But some people will, but it's not as daunting as you think.
It's interesting. This takes me back to 2016. I'm sure it's 2016 when Facebook Lives first came to the UK, and I was in a mastermind, an American mastermind, and they already had it. My Australian friends already had it. I was chomping at the bit, and it kind of cracks me up now, because when they first came out, for the first at least 6 months, if not slightly longer, you'd go live, and the minute you hit live, can you remember the notification would pop for other people saying, Jenny Kovacs has gone live, and all of that kind of stuff. And Facebook did a lot to have people kind of watch your lives, whereas now you've got to do a lot to have people watch your lives. And I could wax lyrical. I'll probably do a separate video, as it's Tuesday and it's Tuesday tip day, around how, ways to have people watch your video content, your live streams. It's not just about bombarding them with stuff. It's not about dancing and pointing. And often it's not even about what you say. For me, I go through these iterations many times a year where I say, am I being complacent? Is what I'm sharing boring? Am I going deep enough into the topic? Am I speaking to the right people? And I don't mean forcing them to come in, but is it resonating with them in a way that it needs to? Is this about me or about them? There's 101 different questions we can ask ourselves. So I get very, very excited about visibility. I'm so grateful to you, not only for coming on today, but for stepping up and saying, I'm going to do this, because it looks easy on the outside for, to everyone else. And it's not. Even for me, second time around, we hit up against things. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for serving the world in the way that you do. Thank you for, helping your invisible warriors and really empowering them to do what they do and bringing the membership about. It is so needed. I know your website is coming back up, but
is it coming?
And in the comments, and I've also put invisiblewarriors.com too. And if you're kind of like, well, should I, shouldn't I would say joining something like Gwen's membership isn't about kind of commercialism or anything else like that. It's about backing yourself to say, do you know what? Even if you're not sure, I'm just going to try it for a month and see what happens. Doing something like that, you'll be amazed at what you can do. with the guidance of Gwen and how she rolls. So thank you so much. And I am going to go and sit in the sun, I think, have a nice glass of water and contemplate the nuggets that you've shared. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, Jenny, for having me on. It's been lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. So I will see you out there on your 365 lives, and thank you.
Will. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.